I need to tell you about the night that changed everything. It was my brother-in-law's promotion party, one of those fancy hotel events where everyone drinks expensive champagne and pretends their success wasn't handed to them. I was sitting in the back row by myself, watching my wife's family celebrate while I felt like an outsider in my own life. My wife Emma's brother Tyler was getting promoted to VP at their dad's hotel company. The whole family was there, dressed up and proud. Her father, Robert, stood at the microphone bragging about his golden boy son who'd achieved so much by age 28. I didn't clap. My hands just stayed in my lap while everyone around me applauded. Here's the thing. Tyler had always treated me like garbage. Called me an idiot behind my back, sometimes to my face. He'd tell people I was only fit for factory work whenever someone asked what I did. At Christmas last year, he said it loud enough for half the table to hear. At Emma's birthday in March, he told someone I didn't talk much because factory work doesn't require complex thought. Emma would sort of defend me, but in that way, that's really an apology. He's just tired. He works long hours. Like my exhaustion was the problem, not her brother's constant insults. So there I sat, listening to Robert talk about his son's promotion and this huge resort project in Hawaii. $75 million, 800 rooms, the works. Robert was putting Tyler in charge of everything. They even showed a picture of the Audi R8 they'd bought him as a bonus. $40,000 watch on his wrist that he'd mentioned at least twice during cocktail hour. Then Robert said it, the thing I'd been waiting for all night. He said, "We're proud of you, Tyler. Proud in a way parents hope to feel but don't always get to." Then he paused and added, "Unlike some people who've joined this family, you've never brought us anything but honor. You've never made us question our judgment. You've never made us ashamed." The room went quiet. Everyone knew what he meant. Emma's shoulders tensed up front, but she didn't turn around. Tyler's grin got wider. This was what he'd been waiting for. Public confirmation that he was the success and I was the failure. I'd worked in a factory for 3 years after high school. Automotive parts assembly. It was honest work and I was good at it. Made line supervisor by year 2. Saved the plant 40 grand by catching production inefficiencies. Then I met Emma when she came to do a college journalism project about manufacturing jobs. We fell in love and got married 2 years later. Her family never accepted me. Robert looked at me like I was a stain on expensive furniture. Tyler dismissed me immediately. Emma's mom, Patricia, was polite, in that cold way rich people perfect. But Emma loved me, or said she did, so I thought maybe I could prove myself worthy. I was wrong. The party dragged on. Dinner was served. Dessert came. People congratulated Tyler endlessly. I was thinking about hiding in the bathroom when this older guy appeared next to my table. Silver hair, expensive suit, probably in his 60s. "Mr. Michael Thompson," he said. Not a question, a statement. I looked up confused. "Do I know you?" "No, but I know you." He pulled out a cream envelope and set it on the table. "It's time to show them who you really are. Read this tonight. After you do, you won't be able to sit in the back row and accept their judgment anymore." "Who are you?" I asked. "Someone who believes in accountability. Someone who knows the Donovan family's success isn't as legitimate as they pretend." He glanced at Tyler posing with his car keys. "Read the envelope, Mr. Thompson. Then decide if you want to keep being the family disappointment or if you want to remind them why they should have treated you better." He disappeared into the crowd before I could respond. I looked at the envelope. My name was written on it in fancy handwriting. I slipped it in my jacket and left the party. Found the bathroom, locked myself in a stall, and opened it. The first document was a legal contract for the Hawaii Resort Project. $75 million development partnership. One name jumped out at me from the investor list, highlighted in yellow. Thompson Industries, LLC. Capital contribution, $22 million. Percentage ownership, 29%. Thompson Industries. My company. I read it 3 times. My hands started shaking. Then it all came flooding back. My grandfather had founded Thompson Industries 60 years ago, manufacturing company that grew huge, automotive parts, aerospace components, industrial machinery, contracts with Ford, Boeing, GE, revenue in the hundreds of millions. My dad ran it until he died when I was 19. Heart attack at 53. The lawyers had told me the company would be managed by trustees until I turned 25. that my inheritance was protected and growing. I'd worked at the factory because my dad always said you can't run a company if you don't understand it from the ground up. So I took a job at one of our plants using my mom's maiden name, so nobody would treat me different. That's where I met Emma. Then we got married, and in all the chaos of wedding planning, I signed some papers. Robert had been so helpful, so kind. Just formalities, he said about a power of attorney form, in case something happens and Emma needs to make decisions for you. I'd trusted him, signed everything. The documents in the envelope showed me what that trust had cost. Bank statements showing Thompson Industries with $340 million in operating accounts. A spreadsheet of fund transfers from my company to various projects run by Robert's hotel business. $22 million for Hawaii, $8 million for an Arizona restaurant chain, $6 million for Colorado real estate. $40 million total of my money funneled into Robert's company while he called me an embarrassment. The final document was a handwritten note. Mr. Thompson, your father-in-law has been using your power of attorney to access your inheritance for 4 years. They've kept you in the dark deliberately. The Hawaii project is in trouble. Over budget by $30 million, 6 months behind schedule. Without your continued investment, his company will collapse within 60 days. You have leverage now. The question is whether you'll use it. I sat in that bathroom stall for a long time, watching my entire reality reorganize itself. I wasn't the factory worker. I wasn't the disappointing son-in-law. I was the man bankrolling their success without knowing it. When I finally came out, Emma found me immediately. "Where were you? Are you okay?" "I'm fine," I said. My voice sounded different, steadier. "The party's almost over. Tyler wants family photos." We gathered for pictures. I stood on the far end where I always did, and for the first time in 4 years, I smiled at a family event and meant it, because I knew something they didn't. Saturday morning, I woke up early and started researching. Thompson Industries had a professional website, 4,200 employees, news articles about manufacturing contracts. There was even a Wikipedia page that said the company was currently managed by trustees on behalf of Michael Thompson, son of former CEO David Thompson. I found articles about the Hawaii resort too. Local news from 2 weeks earlier said the project faced significant delays, permitting issues, and what insiders described as financial restructuring. One contractor said anonymously, "There are serious questions about whether they have the capital to complete this project." When Emma got up, she found me at the kitchen counter with my laptop. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked. "Did you know," I asked her directly, "about my inheritance? About Thompson Industries? About what your father's been doing with my accounts?" The color drained from her face instantly. "I don't... What are you... Yes or no, Emma? Did you know?" She stepped back, hands shaking. "Who told you?" That was all the answer I needed. "What I think is that your family has been stealing from me for 4 years. They haven't been stealing. It's investment, partnership. Your money has been earning returns. My money has been propping up your father's failing company." I said, hearing my voice rise. "Did you know when we got married? When I signed that power of attorney? Did you know what it meant?" She was silent, and in that silence I found my answer. "You knew from the beginning," I said, laughing bitterly. "It wasn't like that." "That," she said, crying now. "Dad said it was temporary, said the trustees approved it, said you'd signed off on everything." "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I love you. Because I knew if you found out, you'd leave. You'd think I only married you for your money. Did you?" "No, God, no, but..." She trailed off. I grabbed my jacket. "I'm going out. I need to think." I walked for hours, ended up by the river. My phone buzzed with texts from Emma. "Please come home. We need to talk. I love you." I turned it off and kept walking. Eventually, I called my attorney, Marcus Chen. He'd been my dad's lawyer, then mine after Dad died. "James Thompson," he answered. "I was wondering when I'd hear from you." "You knew?" I asked. "I suspected. But you signed a power of attorney authorizing Robert to make investment decisions. Everything he's done has been technically legal, if ethically questionable. I want to revoke it now. I'll have paperwork ready by Monday. Once you sign, all access to your accounts will be immediately terminated." "What happens to the Hawaii resort if I withdraw funding?" "It stops. Construction halts. They'll face bankruptcy within weeks." I watched a duck land on the river, smooth and effortless. "I need to think about it." "James," Marcus said carefully, "whatever you decide about the money, don't let them continue to treat you as less than you are. You're not a factory worker who married up. You're the heir to one of the most successful manufacturing companies in the country. When I finally went home, Emma was waiting. "I'm sorry," she said immediately. "I'm so sorry. I should have told you." "From this moment forward," I said, "you don't get to make choices about my money, my company, or my life without my knowledge. I'm revoking your father's power of attorney. Everything he's invested from my accounts is now under my direct control. And whether we stay married is mine to decide about." She looked like I'd slapped her. "Michael, I need time. I need space. I'll be sleeping in the guest room. Don't try to change my mind." Marcus's office was downtown, 42nd floor with floor-to-ceiling windows. He had documents spread across a conference table showing my complete financial picture. Thompson Industries had annual revenue of $420 million with $68 million in profit. My personal accounts held $340 million in liquid assets plus real estate worth another $90 million. I was worth $500 million while I'd been worrying about affording a nicer apartment. "Robert has treated your accounts as his personal venture capital fund," Marcus explained. "He's invested $42 million into his hotel projects over 4 years. Only 2 are profitable. The Hawaii resort is a disaster. Over budget by $37 million, 6 months behind schedule, liens from contractors for unpaid invoices." "What are my options?" I asked. Marcus laid out 3 choices. First, revoke everything and withdraw all funding immediately. Robert's company collapses, I lose most of my investment. Second, maintain the arrangement but take active control. Become a voting board member. Supervise directly. Third, sell my stake to a third party at a loss and walk away clean. "What do you want?" Marcus asked. "Money back? Revenge? Save your marriage?" "I want them to know," I said. "I want them to understand what they've been doing. Every insult, every moment they treated me like I was beneath them, they were wrong." "Then option 2, Marcus said. Take control. Make them work with you. It's the long game, but it lets you reclaim your identity without destroying everything." "Set up a meeting," I said. "Wednesday morning. Robert, Tyler, and Emma. Tell them it's about the Hawaii project, but don't give details." Wednesday came with rain. I wore my wedding suit, expensive, tailored, the kind that says I belong here. Emma watched me get ready with wary eyes. We'd barely spoken since Saturday. "Please don't do anything you'll regret," she said. "My father isn't a bad person." "Your father has been embezzling from me for 4 years," I said. "He's used my money while letting his son call me an idiot. I'm going to this meeting, and you're going to see who I actually am." The meeting was at their office in a converted factory building. Marcus and I walked in together carrying briefcases full of documents. Robert, Tyler, and Emma were waiting in the conference room. Robert looked confused when I sat down at the opposite end of the table from him. "James, I wasn't expecting—" Marcus said this was a financial review. "I am representing my interests," I said. "Today and from now on." Tyler laughed. "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about taking control of my investment in this company. I'm talking about $42 million. The room went silent. "That's how much you've invested from my accounts into your hotel projects over 4 years," I continued. "Without my knowledge, using a power of attorney you convinced me was for medical emergencies." Robert's face went blank. Tyler looked confused. Emma stared at the table. "I don't know what you think you've discovered," Robert started, "but everything I've done has been legally authorized. The power of attorney no longer exists. I revoked it Monday. Every dollar of mine in your projects is now under my direct control." "What the hell are you talking about?" Tyler demanded. Marcus pulled out documents. "Perhaps you're not familiar with Thompson Industries. Annual revenue of $420 million. Portfolio value of approximately $500 million. Owned by your brother-in-law." He slid papers across the table. Tyler grabbed them, started reading. His expression went from confused to horrified. "You're Michael Thompson, the Thompson Industries heir. I prefer the term owner." "Oh," I said. But you worked in a factory. One of my factories. I was learning the business from the ground up." Robert was staring at the documents, hands shaking. Tyler turned to his father. All this time you knew who he was." "I managed his investments," Robert said tightly. "It was a legitimate business arrangement." "It was theft," I said. "You convinced me to sign a power of attorney under false pretenses, then raided my accounts while telling me my inheritance was being managed by trustees. You used my money to build your company while letting your family treat me like garbage. You stood at that party and called me shameful while I was literally the only reason your business hadn't collapsed. I never meant. Robert's voice broke. I did this for Emma, for your future. By keeping me ignorant? By letting Tyler mock me? I stood up, walked around the table. Here's what's going to happen now. First, you're transferring primary oversight of the Hawaii resort to me. I'm the senior board member with final approval over all major decisions. Second, Tyler's promotion is suspended pending review of his qualifications. Third, you're calling a family meeting. Everyone who was at that party. You're going to tell them who I really am and apologize for every insult. I won't, Robert said. You will. Because if you don't, I withdraw my entire investment immediately. Hawaii stops. Your company files for bankruptcy. And everyone learns you were only solvent because you were embezzling from your son-in-law. Robert looked destroyed. You'd destroy Emma's family over pride? Over $42 million and 4 years of humiliation, I said. You have until Friday to call that meeting. I gathered my things. Emma hadn't moved, tears running down her face. Emma, I said gently, are you coming home or staying here? I don't know, she whispered. Then figure it out. I'll be at the apartment. I left, got in my car, and felt my hands shaking from adrenaline. For the first time in 4 years, I'd stood up for myself. Friday came with perfect fall weather. Emma had come home Wednesday night looking destroyed. We'd talked, sort of. She was sorry, she'd made a terrible mistake, she'd been afraid of losing everyone. I'd asked her one question. When did you decide I was worth lying to? She couldn't answer. Now we sat outside her parents' house. Last chance to change your mind, Emma said quietly. I'm not trying to humiliate anyone. I'm trying to establish the truth. The house was full. Robert had followed instructions. Every family member who'd been at Tyler's party was there, plus a few extras. They all looked up when Emma and I walked into the living room. Robert stood. He looked terrible, aged 10 years since Wednesday. Thank you all for coming. There's something important that needs to be discussed. Let me, I said, moving to the front. 4 years ago, I married into this family, and from day one, I've been treated like I wasn't good enough. At Christmas, Tyler called me an idiot, fit only for factory work. At Easter, Uncle Tom asked if I'd considered getting a real career. Last week at Tyler's party, Robert told 200 people his son had never brought him shame. Unlike some people who'd joined the family. Uncomfortable silence. I sat there and took it because I thought I was lucky Emma chose me. I thought I should be grateful. I pulled out documents. But here's what none of you knew. My name is Michael David Thompson. I own Thompson Industries, a manufacturing company with annual revenue of $420 million. My personal net worth is approximately $500 million. And for 4 years, Robert has been using my money to fund his hotel business, including the Hawaii resort Tyler was just promoted to manage. I watched the shock spread across faces. Tyler stood up. That's not... You're lying. The documentation is here. Corporate filings, bank statements, investment records. $42 million of my money invested in projects while Robert convinced me my inheritance and was being managed by trustees. Emma's grandmother set down her coffee cup sharply. Robert, is this true? Yes, he said quietly. But it's not... I didn't mean for it to be... James authorized me to make investments. Did he know? She demanded. Did he know who he was when he signed that authorization? Robert couldn't answer. She stood up, walked to me. I owe you a profound apology. I've been cruel to you based on assumptions that were entirely wrong. I'm sorry. She held out her hand. I shook it. One by one, others followed. Uncle Tom, Aunt Sarah, Emma's cousins. All apologizing, all looking mortified. Tyler didn't move. He stood there, staring at the documents. You let me call you an idiot. Let me treat you like nothing. Why? Because I wanted to see what kind of people you were, I said. I wanted to know if your character would show through when you thought there were no consequences. You manipulated us. I existed honestly. You made assumptions. Emma's mother cut in. Derek, apologize, now. Tyler forced it out. I'm sorry for calling you names, for treating you badly, for everything. I turned to Robert. And you? I'm sorry, Michael. Profoundly sorry. I thought I was helping, making good investments. I never meant to hurt you. His voice broke. If you want to withdraw your investment, I'll understand, but please don't punish Emma for my mistakes. That's not my decision, I said, looking at Emma. She knew what you were doing and didn't tell me. She chose your financial security over my right to know the truth. Emma's mother went pale. Emma whispered, I'm so sorry. I thought if you knew, you'd leave. I was scared. I addressed the room. I haven't decided what I'm doing about the investment. Until I do, I'm senior board member on Hawaii with final approval over decisions. Tyler's promotion is suspended pending review, and Robert will report to me. I picked up my jacket. That's all I came to say. Emma followed me out. I choose you, she said quietly. I choose the real you. Even if you never forgive me, I choose to stop lying. Your family's business will survive, I told her. But things will change. Your father reports to me. Tyler has to prove himself. And you have to live with the fact that when it mattered, you chose them. I know, she said, crying. I hate myself for it. Good, you should. Do you still love me? I looked at her. I don't know. Ask me again in 6 months. We stood there as darkness fell. Two people trying to figure out how to rebuild a marriage built on lies. 6 months later, I was in Hawaii standing on the resort construction site with Tyler. He was showing me progress on various buildings, explaining timeline adjustments and cost savings. He'd gotten good at his job, I realized. Underneath the arrogance, he actually understood hotel development. Your dad's coming next week for quarterly review, I said. Will you be there? Yes, this is my $75 million. Tyler paused. Can I ask you something? Why didn't you destroy us? After everything, you could have pulled funding and walked away. Revenge would have felt good for 10 minutes, I said. Then I'd have spent years dealing with consequences. This way, I get my investment back, your family learns respect, and I get to watch you actually earn your position. That's pretty harsh. Yes, but you'll be better for it. These past 6 months had been the hardest of my life, and somehow the best. Emma and I did therapy, hours of unpacking the lies and choices. It wasn't pretty. There were screaming fights and cold silences, but there was also real honesty for the first time. We both had to become different people. Emma faced her complicity. I faced my own passivity, my willingness to accept mistreatment. We were rebuilding something real. I talked to my father today, Emma said that evening on our penthouse balcony. He wants to know if we're coming to Sunday dinner. Are we? I don't know. Do you want to? Your grandmother makes excellent pot roast. I said. Emma laughed. That's your criteria? It's significant. She squeezed my hand. They're trying, Michael. I know it doesn't erase anything, but they are. They were. Robert had been professional and deferential. Tyler was learning to see me as more than an obstacle. Patricia had apologized properly. Grandmother had taken me to lunch and spent 2 hours asking real questions about Thompson Industries, treating me like someone worth knowing. I'm going back to Michigan next month, I said. Marcus thinks it's time I started taking an active role at Thompson Industries. I need to meet with the board, review operations, start actually leading. How long will you be gone? 3 weeks, maybe 4. I looked at her. I'd like you to come with me. I want you to see the company, see the factories, understand what your family used without ever knowing what it was. I'd like that, she said. We sat watching stars emerge over the Pacific. Do you love me yet? She asked quietly. Or should I wait another 6 months? I love you. I've always loved you, but love isn't enough, Emma. We both know that now. Then what is enough? Trust, honesty, treating each other like equals, being willing to do the work even when it hurts. I kissed her forehead, but I think we're going to make it. She rested her head on my shoulder. Together we watched the ocean, two people who'd almost destroyed each other, learning how to build something real instead. The resort opened 18 months after that October night. December in Hawaii, perfect weather, every room booked. I stood at a microphone looking out at 300 guests. The resort represents more than construction, I said. It represents what's possible when people learn to work together honestly, when families stop hiding behind pretense, when success is built on truth instead of secrets. I caught Robert's eye. He nodded. Resort wouldn't exist without Robert's vision and Tyler's execution, but it also wouldn't exist without accountability. 2 years ago, my relationship with his family was built on lies. Then someone forced the truth into the open and everything fell apart. I paused. Falling apart was the best thing that could have happened. You can't build something real on lies. You have to clear away the pretense first. I raised my glass. To new beginnings, to truth, to family that earns the name. The ceremony continued with formal remarks and a traditional blessing. Later, at a private family dinner, grandmother stood to toast. I'm 93 years old. I've seen a lot of family drama, but I've rarely seen a family learn from its mistakes the way this one has. She raised her glass to me. Michael, you could have destroyed us. Instead, you gave us a chance to be better. We're grateful. Tyler stood next. I'm not good at apologies. But you were right about everything. I was arrogant and entitled. It's been humbling proving myself to you, but I'm better now at my job and at life. I'm glad you called me out. Robert spoke about second chances. Patricia about honesty and family. One by one, people acknowledged change. Later, I found myself alone with Robert. I never thanked you for not destroying me, he said quietly, for giving me a chance to make this right. You're welcome. But Robert, if you ever use my money without my explicit consent again, I will take everything. He nodded. Understood. But if you operate honestly, we'll do great things together. You're good at what you do. You just needed to learn humility. And you taught me. Someone had to. 5 years later, I received another envelope at Thompson Industries headquarters. Same cream paper, same elegant handwriting. Inside was a single sheet. Mr. Thompson, 5 years ago, I gave you proof of your father-in-law's theft. You used it wisely, not for destruction, but for accountability. You rebuilt your family on truth. You became the man your father believed you could be. Your actions created ripples beyond your own life. Robert became a mentor, teaching ethical business practices. Tyler started a foundation supporting vocational education. Emma became an advocate for financial transparency. You didn't just reclaim your inheritance, you reclaimed your family's character. I'm proud of you. Your father would be too. A friend. I read it 3 times, found no clues about who sent it. That night I told Emma about it. Do you ever wonder who sent the first envelope? She asked. All the time. What do you think they wanted? I think they wanted to see if I'd use power for destruction or transformation, if I'd take revenge or build something better. And I think I passed the test. I framed the letter and hung it in my office next to a photo from the resort's opening. Emma and me, Robert and Tyler, all smiling. A family that learned to be honest. A business that learned to be ethical. A man who learned that knowing who you are is more powerful than anything anyone can take from you. Sometimes I still think about that October night when a stranger handed me an envelope and whispered, it was time to show them who I really was. I showed them. Not with anger, not with destruction, with truth. And truth is the most powerful weapon of all. Not because it destroys people, but because it gives them a chance to become something better. They took that chance. We all did. And from those ruins, we built something real.